Look, we know we're good, and the one thing that's going to decide our season is whether we can stay clear of injuries. And everybody's asking the question today, can we keep Noni Madueke fit? This is the ArsenalVision Post-Match Podcast. My name is Elliot, the Black Man's Gunner. That's right. As long as we can keep Noni Madueke fit, then I think we've got a chance to do this thing. That's what it's really going to boil down to, as we all expected when the signing was announced. Please spare a moment for the man, well, I presume man, may have been a woman, who thought the right thing to do when that interest first arose was run for the spray paint. You know, that guy today is staring longingly at his spray paint and thinking, what have we done? But it's okay. We're past that. We had a really fun weekend of football. Maybe not all the results went exactly the way we want, but the one that matters most did, as Arsenal beat Forest 3-0. Great fun performance that we're going to discuss. I want to let you know, by the way, if you are based in the U.S. or going to be in the U.S., there's a fan fest that NBC is throwing. They're the rights holder here in the U.S., and they are going to be in Kansas City this coming weekend, which means we are going to be in Kansas City. Paul and myself will be doing a pod on Saturday. There's going to be some information put out by the KC Gooners, and I will be sharing that around the socials. But if you want to come out in the Power and Lake District and see us do a show on the Saturday and then watch the game together on Sunday, we could do that. Or you could skip that and go to Chicago on October 3rd, 4th, the weekend of the West Ham game. We're going to be joining the Chicago Gooners, who always throw something called Gooner Palooza, and we'll be doing a pod on that Saturday. So if you'd like to come out and see us, you can. Or we're going to try to set something up in London around the Wolves game. That's still a bit TBD. I will let you know, if you don't like the idea of Arsenal playing on a Tuesday and having no pod until a Thursday, there is going to be a pod. It's called the Instant Reaction. It happens at full time. That's why we call it the Instant Reaction. You just listen to a pod. Game ends. You tune into a live stream. Or you listen to a pod. You get to hear Clive's thoughts. You get to hear Tim's thoughts. Paul's thoughts. You could even hear my thoughts. Or you can hit that button that says fast forward 30 seconds 4 times, and you can skip my thoughts. Get back to the other guy's thoughts. All those things are possible on the Instant Reaction. We have Friday Night Clive, which we do on Fridays. We also have other concepts like Power Rankings, where we talk about those other silly teams and why they're going to fall short of Arsenal. 3 big questions, the countdown, the history pod, the women's pod that we call One Club. So many things there, and we'd love to have you there. The code is AVP50. You get 50% off your first month, which means a couple of quid. You can see what you think. We'd love to have you there over on Patreon or on Apple subscriptions. You still get the video stuff too. Anyway, enough of that. Here's Clive. Hello, Clive.
Hello.
Just a lovely chat between 2 Arsenal fans this morning. It is morning for me, quite early in the morning, I will emphasize, which is why I sound so downbeat and lacking in energy, and I apologize for that. Clive, I always like to do this after a nice win. Did you enjoy the day out at the Emirates? How was it for you?
I loved the day out. It was, we had 2 home games so far, and they've been really, really good and really, really happy events. And they're sort of, they're so good, it's sort of hard to process, right? We're fans, right? There's always something to moan about. And it's very difficult when you're in 5-0 and 3-0. Even within that, there are things that we're doing that just feel different. I sat next to a Forest fan during the game, and he said, "You look so different. You look so different in everything you're doing, and particularly going forward." I looked at him and went, I looked around the pitch and I goes, "Yeah, he's right. We are different. A lot of the players are different, but we are different." And you always walk into a game, Elliot, and you walk in with one set of feelings and you walk out with another set of feelings. And I always call it your luggage, right? You walk in with your pre-game luggage and you walk out with a different set of luggage. And a few snapshots and Polaroids that you've taken on the pitch. But the thing I walked out with, mate, I tell you, was how mature and assured we looked. Our decisions were excellent all day. Our intentions were excellent. And, mate, it's not often I walk away feeling that, from a football match. It was really, really positive.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Arsenal at the moment, because of the anxiety around the attack and hoping that the attack will fire, is I think we've swung too far the other direction, not appreciating how dominant we are in just smothering any sense of involvement in the game that the opposition might bring to it. You just need to hang a sign at the Emirates in the away dressing room that says, "Abandon hope, all ye who enter here," because for 45 minutes, Forest had to play without taking a single shot. And I think about what that does to a team, trying to be involved in the game. You come with your plan, you come with your ideas, how we're going to hurt them. And then 45 minutes in, you haven't taken a shot. And just the way we extinguish any sense of involvement or adventure that the opposition has, it has to be such a such a psychological blow for the opposition to play against a team like that. And I don't think we appreciate it enough. But I do want to go to the beginning of the match, Clive, and that really starts with the selection, because there were a couple of interesting selections, and it's led people, I think, to really notice and appreciate and celebrate the depth we have in the squad. When we did Friday Night Clive, we mentioned that Mikel gave, I don't want to say a defensive, but an interesting answer around Mikel Merino. He had clearly been clued into the narrative of it being considered a conservative choice against Liverpool. He referenced the goals he scored for Spain. And sure enough, he picked him to start, as we said he might in this game, although it was for Declan Rice, which I didn't necessarily see coming. And I think this is a great example of where the depth really benefits us, because Declan Rice, the player when he's full power, versus Declan Rice, the player when he's not full power, two very different things. Played 2 games for England. He gets a day off, at least most of the day off, and Merino starts. So there was an interesting selection of Merino. We got to see Eze start up front, Noni Madueke on the left, Noni Madueke on the right. What do you think of his selection, in particular the decision to start with Merino over Declan Rice?
Yeah, don't care. You know me, honestly, I don't care. It's all about how they play. I think Declan's second game for England, he was massive. He didn't just play. He had like 6 or 7 shots. I mean, it was a ridiculous performance. And when you saw it, and then when he didn't play, I thought, that's interesting. But I wasn't worried as soon as the ball started moving around. I think Merino had the first big chance. And you're thinking to yourself, well, this is absolutely fine. It's come to a point now. I know you did a bit on the IR about squad depth, etc. It's not just squad depth, it's squad quality, isn't it? Right? And you must be going crazy. I know you like your first 11s. You must be going crazy. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You've got anxieties in attack.
Clive, a few more injuries, it'll sort itself all out, and I'll be as happy as can be.
Exactly. Back to where we normally are, 14 fit players and a couple of kids. That's what we're used to, right? And then we can have a hard luck story and say, why we finished second, right? So, but yeah, the quality is massive, and you can see it, and they all fit right. We all know the profiles now because we're experts, and we've all got data to our fingertips, so we can all find the YouTube clips. These players are really, really good. You spoke about anxiety in attack, and I have to say, we've tried to fix that with our 3 attackers, shall we say. But also, there's not just the 3 attackers. The way we defend collectively is just unbelievable. And so on days like this, you feel like it doesn't matter who you pick because they're all in tune. I had a good look of Arteta in this game, and I was watching him, Elliot. Mate, I don't care who's listening to his podcast right now. I don't care where you are in the world. I don't care how long you supported Arsenal. I don't care about your story. There is nobody that cares more about winning a game of football than that manager. In fact, he is like on it. He's so on it. It's ridiculous. Every single detail, you can see it flowing through him and transmitting out to the players. And every action that the players did on this day felt correct. It felt like they've just completely have a collective spirit and intensity and responsibility to share those responsibilities, no matter what zone they're in. I'm looking at this, and we're all fans, right? Our weekends are on this, particularly a Saturday morning game, because the rest of the weekend will be a nightmare if we lose. Mate, there's no danger of that, none whatsoever. And to see people that you really support and a big part of your life care about it more than you, it is really good. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 reasons you want squad depth, right? One reason you want squad depth is to rotate, like we did with Merino and Rice, so you can pick the player that's best for the day based on all factors and circumstances. The other reason is because you do pick up injuries, and we had 2 players starting presumably because of injuries, although with Noni, we'll get to it in a moment. Noni's going to be a big talking point, but I want to pause on that for just a second and go with Christian Mosquera. I don't know what Saliba's fitness level was, but I suspect in a pinch he could have played. And it's a classic example of what you do in a season when you don't have the right squad, which is you put players out there when maybe you shouldn't be putting them out there. And we know we've done it. We've done it with Ben White in the past. We've done it with Jurriën Timber in the past. And I suspect we might have done it with Saliba in the past. Had this situation. Yeah, we've done it with Tomiyasu. Yeah. We didn't do it with Saliba this day. And that's because we have this kid, Christian Mosquera. And as much as I was impressed with him at Anfield, that was a very calm game in the sense of both teams were sort of shadow boxing a little bit. But this is a game where it required a little more expression of his passing range, a little bit more. We talked about this on the Friday Night Clive thing, right? Will he have to cover more space that he'll have to run into, a higher line, step into midfield more? And I think you just saw that he has those levels to his game, and he was more involved. He did more things than he was even asked to do at Anfield. So do you want to give me your appraisal of this, really this kid who stepped into Saliba's position and we haven't missed a beat?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been to the gym this morning, and excuse me, I sometimes look at Mosquera and I think, have you missed leg day a little bit? You know, because you look quite broad-shouldered, but you're very light in your legs. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm critiquing an elite athlete, but
your house is made of so much glass right now.
Yeah,
hope no one's throwing stones here. Yeah.
The ones on YouTube now are tapping in their comments. They make you miss a few days: leg day, head day, body, the whole day, right?
Yeah.
But you know, just to describe someone's body type, his shoulders are broad, and he looks so quick and rapid. To be honest, I was never worried about him. We said on Friday, I'm not worried about him in big space at all. Not because he's so quick. He could be as quick as any of our defenders. And there was a bit of critique. When I mean critique, I mean no one is as smooth as Saliba on the ball, right? So we've grown used to him. So it's not a critique. It's like there's a development opportunity, is what the coaches say, with his ability on the ball. And I thought he was fantastic in his game on the ball. How he was prepared to have the confidence to wait and bait and play through. There was a couple of occasions where the crowd didn't understand that, because we're so focused now on getting the ball forward to Gyokeres because we want a striker. When someone waits and they're going man to man and he's waiting for someone to peel away, then that's the right thing to do. And I was watching the manager and he was clapping him, consistently clapping him. But mate, the moment that made my jaw drop, I mean, you know, I'm going to talk about the diving header clearance in the box.
Yep.
And I was sitting behind that cross. And as it disappeared below head high, I'm thinking, uh-oh. Normally, that's when strikers win the race to that. Do you know what I mean? And once it beats the height, Gabby sort of thing, it gets to it and it drops. And then he dives and heads it out. And I'm just went, I literally was aghast. I thought, well, I know he's quick. I know he can go tight. I know he can steal in front. He's not bad in the air. And now he's mastering distribution. And he's being the big Gabby last-ditch defender in the box. And I'm looking at it, I'm flicking on to SofaScore just to check I've got his age right and his price right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of them, you know, it's one of them. It's a stunning buy, a stunning addition to the team. Seems very popular and we can all see him now, right? So I think everyone listening will be just nodding away, right?
Yeah, and the great thing about having Saliba to come back in is that you have one of the best center backs in the world who can come back in. Mosquera had this little moment. He can process it. He can enjoy his first experience in the Premier League and having been successful at it, but not have to go out there and play 90s twice a week. Because, you know, Tim often references this point. He always says the player of the month for August is always a new signing, right? It's always a new signing. It's always someone who's shiny and new and did pretty well and everybody's happy and clappy about it. Obviously, there's the famous Arsene Wenger quote about Rob Holding. I'm sorry he didn't cost £50 million. It's easy to look good in your first couple appearances. It's hard to play 90 minutes every 3 days at the elite level and not drop off and not have that wear on you. And so for is he 21 yet?
Yeah, 21.
21-year-old center back coming into the league to not have to do 90s every 3 days because there's a phenomenal player, you know, ahead of him in the pecking order. I think it's perfect. It's a perfect introduction. He can continue to learn and continue to develop without having to be under the white hot spotlight constantly. We don't have to rush him, but having him and the performance he put out, just extraordinary. And it looks like a beautiful bit of business. And as you look at our center back groups, you know, when you look at Saliba and Gabby and Mosquera and the prices we paid for those players and what they've developed into, that's probably some of our best scouting and our best transfer business that we've done in this era.
Yeah, and the ages of them as well, Elliot. The ages is really, I mean, they're all young for defenders. If Big Gabby, I think he's 27, if he's the oldest, and he doesn't look it. Right? And you look at who the premier defender in the league, is he 33, 34? You know, and he looks fine. So we've got many, many years ahead for these guys to develop and really get that authority, and they're developing it right now.
Yeah, and You know what I do like is I think we've always talked about center back pairings or partnerships. And so you want them to complement each other. And Gabby is fire and Saliba is ice, right? You have your fire and your ice. And I think Mosquera is ice also. You know what I mean? They have that Saliba, Mosquera temperament and style of the game, and they're sort of the tempo at which they play has that less emotional, less intense quality, and Gabby brings the big emotion, right? There was one moment, I think it was late in the game, where he was trying to G up the crowd and get everybody fired up, and everybody's like, mate, we're already heading for the exits. This game's over. We've won this game. What are you doing? But that's just the way he plays. So I like that partnership too. So we wind up with a very big moment very early on, and unfortunately is very familiar, which was Odegaard going down hard on his shoulder, trying to play through it, unable to play through it. Mikel has said it's not going to require surgery, and I think I haven't seen any report on what it is. You see this kind of injury in the NFL a lot called an AC joint sprain, an AC sprain, and they don't require surgery, and they usually don't keep players out for a long time, more pain tolerance and movement. So we'll hope that he's fine. But what I think is interesting is normally when something like that had happened in seasons past, every podcast we do afterwards would just be, what do you think about this Odegaard injury? How long is he going to be out? It really hasn't been much of a talking point because people feel so comfortable with what our options are. But I thought that this was a big, big moment because Clive Mikel had a decision to make. He's got Eze who can play there. He's got Declan Rice who can come in, right? He's got lots of options of senior players who can come in and play in the midfield, or he can pick the 18-year-old who's still learning his midfield role in a game we obviously must win. We weren't well on top at that stage. And he just picked him, next man up. I think it's a huge vote of confidence in Ethan that the player has to love, that says, I know I have these other senior, experienced, talented midfielders I can call on. You're my guy behind Odegaard. I trust you. He picks him. And I thought that was a very big statement from Mikel.
Yeah, and he didn't pick him at Anfield. And I was all right with that. You know, because there are games. We're at home. We're in our environment, in a ground that he knows well. Absolutely. I could see him warming up, Elliot, so I knew. Do you know what I mean? It was no shock to me. But yeah, I thought he did well against Leeds. I said that. I thought I liked his performance. Again, I look at things that he doesn't do. So I look at his duels and I just look at his retention. And I felt that we're on a little bit of a carousel in midfield. We sort of rotated around a bit, just around and around. And if he was deep, that was fine. He can ping it. And if he had to stay high, he had to stay high. I felt we were a lot more fluid in our central midfield. I thought we were fluid all over the pitch, to be honest. And there were times when our fullbacks on the wrong side of each other, and I got worried. And I'm saying, oh, we disorganised, but the players weren't worried. They just stood in those spots and did the job. And so Ethan, what I do like about him is he's starting to be more metronomic. So when he needs a bounce pass, he bounces it. When he needs to turn in, turn out and run away from someone, he does that. He doesn't keep it too long. He pops it. His weight of pass is lovely. He played one clip pass square laterally, and it just went to Eze, I think it was, and it just was a lovely weight of pass. He's got a great contact, the way he contacts the ball. He was unlucky with a shot from a cutback. And I just, to be honest, mate, I can watch him, and I was watching him. And there are times when the mental energy to stay engaged in a game drops a little bit. It didn't matter. It was at 3-0, and we were running back, and it was. So if I'm, you know, I guarantee you, they want him to have a complete engagement over 90 minutes and don't disappear. When you're young and you disappear for 5-10 minutes, people are going to work on that. They want you to be constant, have a constant engagement in these central areas. When you're old, you've got a few medals and a few England caps in the back, and you have 5-10 minutes. No one even looks. Do you see what I mean? Because you have the history, you have the track record. No one even looks. And so me personally, I want to stay engaged all the time because I like to see him on the ball, you know? So sometimes to find a way to just go over and bounce past. It doesn't mean you need to do anything special, but you're constantly having touches, you're constantly in the game, and you're not the young kid that's suddenly pushed to the side and people are running past, you know? And so, but to have this conversation with you on the back of a 3-0 win, on the back of Arsenal have taken the choice to develop an 18-year-old live on TV on a Saturday when we need to win. And as you said earlier, they've taken that choice and they've followed through with it. And it's all right. We end the game with 2 18-year-olds, and it's okay. I mean, not every club will do that. Honestly, not every club will do that. They go the other option 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. And you should praise the manager when he deserves it, because God knows he's going to come in for enough criticism. He's under immense pressure. Like, this is the challenge of elite management. He is being told, win the Premier League or the Champions League or you've failed again, and you should go, in some circles. But he's also being told, don't you dare ignore the academy players. You better give them minutes. You better find ways to develop them. And I just think under the immense pressure of this season, it would be easy and understandable for him to say, I'm going to slide Eze into midfield. I'm going to bring on Leo Trossard, or to say I'm going to bring in Declan Rice and go with the midfield that I used at Anfield. And I think that'll be enough to get me through today. To pick the 18-year-old is to acknowledge the pressure of needing a result and to trust the talent of your young player. I think it is a really important moment to do it, because there will be times this season, similar to Anfield, where he can't pick for one reason or another Ethan. He doesn't feel it's the right choice. But Ethan will have these moments like this, where he was chosen, where he was given the opportunity, and where he did thrive. And I actually thought, to be fair, I think Ethan came on and was doing a little of the stuff that we've talked about, of carrying it a bit much, maybe holding it a bit long. And after halftime, I saw a big lift in his game. I thought he was really good in the second half. And I wonder if Mikel just tweaked a few things with him, just about tempo, just about releasing the passes on time. And it's not that he wasn't good in the first half. I think his game went up even a level. And by the second half, he looked really at home playing with Zubimendi. There was one really good clip going around of Mosquera pinging it out to Ethan. Ethan gives it inside to someone, and I'm blanking on who it is, because
I think I did a little rotation.
And then Zubi ran in behind, and it leads to the ball going to Eze for a block shot. And that was beautiful first time play. Ethan showing his real quality, which is his ability to control the ball in tight spaces under immense pressure.
He's a footballer, mate. He's a baller. No, honestly, it's just not a problem to him. When the ball comes into him, Elliot, he does the back foot first touch, and it goes right across him. And you think he hasn't got it. He chops it back, and he chops it back the other way. Yep. Yeah. Your defender, you're on your heels, right? Then he's got the speed to pitter-patter and run away. It's like, very nice, very nice.
And he had a couple of shots. He had a couple of chances to score in this game, too, that I'm sure he'll want back. The one curler, which is his signature, he didn't quite get it off. He was leaning back a bit. And then the one that he skied in the box. So more good things to come from Ethan, an important day for him. The obvious, interesting star of the show in this game, despite not actually having an assist or a goal, but I think really creating the momentum in the game that pushed Forest back and made them feel beaten if they weren't beaten yet, is Noni Madueke. And I feel so good for him. I feel so good for him to get the adulation of the crowd, to hear his name sung, to have a game like this, because he's another player in that interesting position of looking really good, being really good, but it being unclear what his role will be in some games, when Saka's back, when Eze's back. So this is his chance to get in front of the Emirates crowd, to start the game, and to be a star, and he really was. And spare a thought for Merino, who wanted anywhere but to be defending the left flank after about 30 minutes of that game. I think the best thing that ever happened to him was Murillo going off injured, because it meant he could be done having to defend Noni Madueke. But Clive, it was a great example of a team understanding where the dope was and getting it to Madueke so he could exploit that weakness over and over again.
Yeah, and against Liverpool, we didn't do it enough, did we? We didn't get to that side enough. We went everywhere. We were happy being on the ball in that environment and keeping the crowd quiet. Again, messaging, slow Anfield down, don't get involved in their washing machine. Messaging, just keep the ball, keep it moving. But actually, the step for us is, that's the guy that's going to be the winner today. Let's feed him. And we did that in this game. And Elliot, mate, we're trying to be different. We are different. We look different. We got a lot of new players. But we still were very right-sided bias in this game. And suddenly we were getting the ball to him, and there were 5 yards for him to get into his running. And that's maybe on us. And the rhythm by which we played, we would move it around slowly, and then once we went, it would bounce, 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 switch. And it was like there. And when he gets it, it's like into my running quickly. We're all moving forward. And so it was a lovely pace to the game. Elliot, honestly, mate, we're very lucky when we watch a game from up high, over on TV or in the ground, and we can see every pass. Mate, the rewatch, if we do a rewatch this, we probably won't, but if we do a rewatch of this, I don't think you'll say once, he should have passed it there. because there was no bad decisions hardly. It really was like that. So Madueke gets into his running really quickly. But the difference with him, mate, he's got big shoulders and he's taller and he's stronger and he's going to that green piece of grass right behind your heels as a defender, and he's going there quick. And his pace is really fast. He is a major athlete. And so everyone in the ground has been massively behind him. We had a little bit of a laugh before he joined, and then some people were much more serious than that. Because they got their own reasons. I don't want to critique anybody because I had my moment too, but not massively loud. But when you think about football and where it's won and lost, it's always in the wide spaces for me. They're the difference makers. That's where it's at. Everyone controls zone 14. Everyone has two strong centre backs that are really aggressive and normally have one or two in front. And so if you want to get people, you've got to get them in wide areas. You've got to have more people that can do that job because we overplay our wide players. And he was supreme in this game. The Emirates crowd had been behind him from day one, from minute one, and it went to new levels, and it was so well deserved. I mean, standing ovation, mate, standing ovation, and he was that good in everything he did, off the ball, on the ball, at pace, slowing it down. There's nothing to see here, mate. Honestly, it was that good, and if he can do that on the left on occasions and on the right, maybe we do what you've always wanted, Elliot, which is swap wingers around on occasions and change the face of the team. We got these options now because the quality's there. And we can have this discussion. The quality's there, but his assurance and presence was really, really strong. Really strong.
Yeah, and I think an interesting component of this, you talked about the right side bias. In the time Murata was playing left back, Noni Madueke had 30 touches, and Eberechi Eze had 13. Okay? We attacked Murata. But after Murata went off, and I've got this loosely, Madueke had 32 touches, and Eze had 30. So notice what we did, right? We saw a weakness. We exploited it. We very heavily tilted to that side. But then after that change, we had much more balance, and Eze was much more involved because we didn't have that clear opportunity to exploit that weakness. And so the game balanced out. And I just think that's intelligent play. And so before we get too much into other individuals, I just want to talk a little bit about tactically what you thought of the dynamic of the midfield without Rice in there, with Merino in there, Zubimendi. Obviously, we're going to talk about his goals, but the tempo that he sets for the team, that Zubimendi, Waneri, Merino midfield with Calafiori just roaming wherever the heck he wants to go. There was a really funny moment where Ethan had the ball around the center circle, and he looks up, and Calafiori's waving for the ball, and he just turns away from him. And then he turns back, almost like, wait, what are you doing there? Because he was in the right half space in front of him. I don't think he understood who he was looking at. And then he's like, oh, okay, I'll give you the ball there. A very, very free role, to say the least. So what do you think, just any tactical tweaks or midfield dynamics that you noticed and the way we were building play?
Just the rotations. They all come from different areas of the pitch. When you say that, that hasn't always been the case. We've had midfielders that need to be in one place on the pitch because that's where they're good. And because we know that, then the opposition knows that and they nullify them. When you're rotating and moving around, particularly against man-to-man system, that's a problem. Having the ability to do that is part of our recruitment, isn't it? I suppose with Ethan, I think I know him, and so we've grown watching him. I think I know him. His development for me this season has been huge, and particularly off the ball. And I'm really watching that because if he's going to be a central player, you can't do a Bruno what he did yesterday. Do you know what I mean? You can't do that. You've got to watch everything around you off the ball. So that's your development. And Zubimendi, I was sold from him for a long time, so I'm not bothered. Just want to make sure he stays healthy and he plays well in the big games, and we can get him off the pitch so he can sustain a 60-game season and play for Spain at the same time. So that's my only worry with him. So the one that's a little bit more mysterious is Merino. Like, this is someone who's already played 3 positions for us in like a week, right? So, and he's been a centre forward, and he was in this game. He was a third midfielder at Anfield, and he was more of a second midfielder in this game. And he's done all of the roles really, really well. And like, we just shrug our shoulders at that, Elliot. We just go, oh, well, hold on a minute. That's a decent player. You know, he scored 4 goals for his country. That's a decent player. And he's been someone that's been in, you know, I've had conversations with people that we know about him and they've dismissed it. I don't criticize him for it because it's hard to work out, right? It's hard to work out what he is. Once he gets that engine going, mate, once he's fit, he's for real. He really is. His ability on the ball, I said on the IR, he had his dancing shoes on. Because he's got really nice feet as he moves around the ball. He manipulates it really well, steps around it. Always got a good picture. His technique is really, really solid. Mate, if he was a yard quicker, he would be at Real Madrid. Honestly, everything's there. Everything's there. And he's quite strange. Again, when you watch football and you watch actions, you hope people do the right thing at the right time. There's a lot of times, Elliot, he does the right thing at the right time. The only times when you think he may not be quite the guy is normally if he can't get to the pitch of the ball. Do you see what I mean by that? Mm-hmm. It's a physical limitation rather than a technical or a intelligent limitation. Tactically supreme, knows where to be. The only thing that stops him being one of the best players out there is just that elite Rice Bellingham mobility. Do you see what I mean by that? That last thing. But no one's perfect, right? But he was really good in this game. So for me, he was the big standout because I sort of knew the other two. Do you see what I mean? He was a big surprise to not see Rice there. It took me a while to work it out. And then after 5 minutes, I wasn't bothered. You know, so that's really where we are, isn't it, with our quality at the moment.
Yeah, and maybe a little unlucky not to score. I think, you know, he hits the sort of side of cells. The keeper gets like his torso on it.
Against most keepers, that's a goal. Right? He's a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's good. And so, I mean, it's just a really interesting performance overall. I mean, obviously, Zubimendi gets 2 goals. And I love what Mikel Arteta said about him. He said, I take no credit for it. Right? And if Zubimendi's goal was practiced on the training ground, I take 0 credit for that incredible execution, the timing, the way he connects with the ball, and the way the ball travels on that trajectory. And I do think I noticed in this game that we were maybe a little more free with our shots, taking shots a little more willingly. Eze cut inside twice and took 2 shots that were blocked. It wasn't really on. Zubimendi tried the volley twice.
What did you think about the Eze shots? What was your feeling when you watched it?
Well, obviously, my initial feeling is find the better option, find the open man. There was one in particular where he took so the move we referenced, right? The one where Ethan starts it and Zubimendi runs through and he gives it to Eze and he cuts in and he shoots. Calafiori's overlapping him and he wants the ball and he's frustrated when it doesn't come to him. But I do think that players who have the instinct to shoot and can create rebounds and deflections and things like that. I mean, the volley deflects. It's probably going in anyway because it's hit so hard. The header deflects, by the way, too. But the leap is sensational. I just think it's the point that we know we need to take more shots. We know we need to be more willing to take shots. And I think there will be a reward for that long term. And in terms of understanding where the options are, I think Mikel said it, in fact, so I'll leave it to him. As usual, he had the right comment on he was asked about Eze's performance. He says, the new ones that started, 5 for them today. So 5 new signings in one lineup. That's a lot of change, right? He says, really impressed with them. I think you can sense and feel that there are new relationships flourishing, that there are new relationships flourishing there that are going to give us different things. Did we go more unpredictable? Noni, I think he was excellent as well. So we played a front 3 that we've never played before, and it was good exposure for them in terms of the timings as well. It was exactly what they needed because they played a lot of minutes, and overall, I'm very happy. And this is what you want in early season, Clive. You want to get new groups together, new players exposure to each other early in the season so that they can start to build those automatisms and click. Maybe next time Eze does slide it to Calafiori on the overlap. But for now, they're learning each other, and this was really good exposure to them. So what do you think of that? Just the 5 new signings all playing in a lineup together and how they were able to start to build an understanding.
Yeah, and it's all happening in front of us. I think the reason why I asked you about the shots thing, because I thought, you know what, I'm glad you take that shot. And I did see the options, particularly one of them, there's an option on the right-hand side. But I'm glad you're taking it because that's what we want, isn't it? It's what we want to see happen, you know? I'm not on a shot count thing. I'm on a threat. I want to see our threat go up. And if Eze can't shift it to his right, I thought a couple of his touches were a little bit not quite correct. He bounced one. He took an option away. And I could see in him that he was really, not to say over trying, but it was an important day from his first home start. And he was really trying to work off the ball to show everybody that he's part of the collective. And you can see him sprinting around. I wonder what Palace fans think of him off the ball, because his off the ball intensity for them has not always been great. That's one of the things they critique him on. But he was doing it, mate. He was doing everything. And when the ball came to him, he was looking to make a really good impression. And I loved his approach to the game. I really did. I loved how he grew into it and started to play at his pace and just looked like a really smart, intelligent player when the ball comes in, really good, And and as for the others, Elliot, I mean, Gyokeres is just he's just learning, right? They're just learning each other. That's the key. And so we're learning. So as we're watching it and you're watching it, it's the first time we've seen them. And now I have my Anfield regrets now. Could they have all three of them started there? Would they have played like this? I don't know. But Liverpool don't know either, right? So that was the one thing in my mind. But, mate, it was so refreshing to watch this. We have watched our attack now for quite a while. We've watched a number of key people for quite a while. So we know them, right? We know them. I'm not saying we're bored, but we know their good things and their bad things. We know them so well. So to walk away from this game with so many positive thoughts about players and their level, it's like, wow, I mean, I'll tell you, I've had 2 overwhelming home games so far. This carries on. I don't know what's going to be. There'll be nothing left of me.
I mean, 8 goals at home, none conceded. We've conceded 1 goal this season. It's from a free kick from 40 yards out. We're giving away next to nothing. We look very strong, and obviously a big part of that strength is depth, and Mikel was asked about it, and about signing all these players and adding to the depth of the squad. And I think his answer is well-worded as ever, but gives away what he's trying to say pretty clearly. If we hadn't done that, with the injuries that we have, unfortunately, some of them are very difficult to control, we'd be in a very different place. And that's his way of saying that if you don't have Odegaard and you don't have Rice and you don't have Saka and you don't have Kai and you don't have Saliba and you don't have Ben White, where are you going to be? You're not going to be winning games 5-0 and 3-0 and going and winning at Old Trafford and, nearly getting something at Anfield. That's not the position you're going to be in. And so, go ahead.
So I think he's learning about, there was a moment in the game when we had a couple of moments. They had we had the mixed up clearance. Calafiori got run, I think a run once. That was all. It wasn't quite to the pitch of the ball. Mm-hmm. And as you looked at the pitch, you thought, okay, well, I thought, because I'm a warrior, I'm not as bad as you, but I thought, this is the moment to make a change. To change something there and just to stop any momentum appearing. Within a few seconds, Miles Lewis-Skelly comes on, Declan Rice comes on. Over. Do you see what I mean? Just like that, over. And to have those level of players, the England starters, come on the pitch and just do something else and just be fresh and sharp and want to make an impression, just brilliant, right? So now for Tuesday and maybe for Sunday, given how good we know the players, maybe a Calafiori shouldn't play.
Yeah.
And he should be building up his core fitness so he can be really ready for City. Now, there's no critique. We've got a new signing we haven't seen. We got a young England player that hasn't started a Premier League game yet. And we can just say, you know what, we're going to go with this. We're going to try to build up Calafiori so he can be robust for the games we're going to need him for. Because the whole goal for me in this is to do a PSG, be ready for the last 2 months of the season with all the players that you want to play in the right condition. What we're doing now is we're learning about these players. We're looking at our squad and we're wondering, wow, crikey, we're quite good. Wait till we're all fit. We want to be fit in April and May. That's when the medals are handed out. And we haven't been fit at any point in Mikel Arteta's reign. It's almost been a constant. Apart from the one time when we won 18 games, 16 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Mm-hmm. That's the only time we've been really fit. And even then, we couldn't quite manage the Bayern week. So this is what he's planning for. So I'm wondering who's going to sit this week so they're ready for City and they're ready for the games after, like Port Vale, etc., Newcastle. We want to be there at the critical moment with the right players in the right condition. And that's the goal, really.
Yeah. I want to talk about Eze and Gyokeres. That goal, of course, I want to look ahead to Bilbao briefly and maybe talk a little bit about City and Liverpool's weekends. So there's stuff I still want to get to. I know you're dying to hear about brands, but I'll just say this since we're not going to probably talk about them at all this game. You know, what really felt like last season, just everything that could go wrong did, it felt like. And we'd just gotten 2-0 up. The game should be safe. It should be comfortable. And then a ball bounces off Chris Wood's chest and goes in the goal. That's what happens last season. You know what I mean? It's a nothing moment. It's a hopeful cross. It hits Chris Wood in the chest. It somehow bounces up over the keeper and goes in. And now it's 2-1 and there's rumbling in the stands and we've already lost a player to injury. That's last season. It just felt somehow like a little flicker of the clouds parting, that it comes off his chest. Raya, to his great credit, gets some fingers onto that to get it onto the post. Then we make a complete hash of the ball, playing the ball in our own box, right? And wind up having to have a scrambled clearance there, which we get clear. And that moment, instead of going to 2-1 and all of a sudden we've made it nervy and maybe, we get pegged back at the death, it goes begging. We get the third, and it's a very comfortable, happy day. But it's just those little things in football where you've done basically nothing wrong all match, and a ball bounces off a chest and goes over your keeper and goes in, that can turn everything on a day. And the fact that it didn't happen, and thanks to the huge leap by Raya, I think was worth a mention in my mind, just because it felt like such a potential turning point,
Yeah, Timbers goes to clear it, and then Mosquera, I think, takes it away from him. So Timber almost half injures himself.
Yeah.
We'd lose him for a month last season, wouldn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mosquera makes a tackle in the box, and we all have a little bit of a laugh, and it's gone. You're absolutely right. It felt like that. There's a different feeling in the ground, Elliot. There is a different feeling, mate. It feels different. And there's a physical and technical maturity to this team that I've not seen before. I've not felt before. In almost every player, they're so in command of their actions. Not every actions are going to go well, but they look so in command. There's little or no fragility, and it was a top performance. It really was, in all aspects.
Yeah. Let's talk about that Gyokeres goal, but before we do that, let's definitely talk about brands. And the brand that I almost don't even need to mention at this point, because everybody knows about it and everybody uses it. People get in touch on social media and joke about it. It's NordVPN. If you click on a video and it says not available in your area, that shouldn't be happening to you anymore. Because that video was probably either A, something awesome Arsenal did, or B, something hilariously stupid that United did. And either way, you want to watch it. So you get NordVPN, you put the app on your device, you tell it where you want to browse, and you're browsing there. It's that simple. When I go over to London to see the mighty Arsenal, because I've only come to see the Arsenal, one of the annoying things is I can't watch the football on my subscription to my service here, but I can because I VPN back here, and then I can watch it. And we had a great memory at a pub with a bunch of fans just kind of together celebrating, but United were playing Fulham. This was last season, and Iwobi scored a late winner, and I had my VPN running, and I had the game on the phone, and we were all gathered around, and we had a grand old time watching United drop points. So just, an easy way to keep up with the football. Very, very good speed, very safe, and they have threat protection. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's ArsenalVision. It's not. That's not the website. The actual website is nordvpn.com/ArsenalVision. That's nordvpn.com/ArsenalVision. nordvpn.com/ArsenalVision. You get a huge discount off your plan and 4 months on top. Do it now. And last but not least, Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Indeed is just the obvious, sensible way to do this. Hiring is getting worse because AIs are talking to AIs, and you're not finding the right candidates, and the candidates aren't finding the right jobs, and it's partly because there's so many different sites you don't know where to look. With Indeed, one site is all you need. And with sponsored posts, your job jumps right to the top of the page for relevant candidates. This is the whole idea, right? The candidates want to find the jobs relevant to them. They don't want to see a bunch of jobs that aren't relevant. You want to find candidates that are relevant to you. If you just weed out the noise, you have more signal for the person looking for a job, more signal for the person hiring for a job. It makes a huge difference. Sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. And those applicants, remember, are going to be better quality because you're going to be getting the relevant candidates applying to it. How fast is Indeed? In the minute we've been talking to, 23 hires were made on Indeed according to Indeed worldwide data. So there's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ArsenalVision. Just go to Indeed.com/ArsenalVision right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/ArsenalVision. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed.com. Is that enough of that?
Indeed.
That it. Talk me through the Gyokeres goal, please.
Well, I was just getting back to my seat, literally.
Sorry. I had the ad read up in the screen. I couldn't see you. Do you need a minute? Do you need to compose yourself? Because I'm more than happy to say everything about it, then say, what do you think, Clive? Would you prefer
No. I was absolutely fine. I was just getting back to my seat, and I see these balls swing up in the air, going in behind. I thought that looked a bit easy. And then I see Eze sort of slide it, and it's in the net. It's like 3 passes. It's just like, oh, that was a bit easy. How's that happened? But again, it's all about timing, isn't it? Eze, he's going out to in to then darting behind. So that's a connection there they've developed already. Maybe had a chat, who knows? And then he's in behind, and then he side foots across the air, no missing. Gyokeres he's hungry, right? He's hungry. He's playing like he's got no food in the fridge, right? He's hungry, and he goes in and side foots it. He's like,
people are going to think that's a weight joke, by the way.
Oh, would they?
He's hungry, but not because he's overeating. Let's be clear about this.
I don't agree with this weight thing. Honestly, I don't see it. I see a player that's getting fitter and fitter all the time. That's what I see, and a player that actually a big part of his game is his fitness. So he needs to be fit to be him, to be quick, to be sharp, to be relentless. The word relentless and the way he has described, the way we've seen him play, is a relentless style. Well, relentless means you do something again and again and again. When you're not fit, that word's out. You do something once and you take 5 minutes to recover, and then you do it again if you're lucky, right? So, and that's where he has been. And if Kai was fit, he'd be able to get fit in a slower way, and maybe spend more time off the pitch working on his fitness, but he has to be ready to play, right? So he's getting fit on the pitch. So wonderful, easy goal, Elliot. Easy work, right? What's football? It's not complicated, is it? It's easy.
Yeah, except I see that going wrong 9 times out of 10 for Arsenal in the past, because the actions that have to be taken for it to turn into a goal would not be the same. So the first question I'll ask you is about the center forward. And this is not a critique of Kai, by the way, who I absolutely love and think is going to give Yoke a run for his money for playing time when he's fit. But what run does Kai Havertz make in that same situation? Because to me, I think he goes to the penalty spot, or he drops back to the top of the box for a cut back. I think the instinct to run to the back post is not something we've seen as much.
Yeah, different style of players, right? And I saw some clips this morning of Martinelli playing left-footed crosses, and they were quite good crosses. But we weren't really ahead of the defender or bustling him. And so I thought the quality, it's just about quality, isn't it? This is about quality. Zinchenko can play that pass, that Calafiori did. But he also wants to play the ball inside, and he's already inside. So it's a different player, different skills. And so he just drops it on his head. I mean, Eze now, that quality, he's got a 2-yard space to put the ball into, and he puts it in there. Goalkeeper's frozen because the pace of pass is great. Gyokeres slides it in. Football looks really easy when it's done right, and that was the feeling you got. And it's about quality. The quality of that delivery was so good, and I'm so pleased for him. And Gyokeres, and I've seen all his goals now because he seems to be at home. All we talk about right now, Elliot, in the back of my mind, what's in the back of my mind? Our away performances haven't felt like this, right? So we need to change that, because this team is really good, and it's the same bit of grass. So let's just fix that, shall we? Because this can't be something. I'm not over dramatizing it, but I'm really confident about this team. I know what I'm looking at. So just go away from home and just deal with teams. Just deal with them. We can't be doing. Manchester United, we won jogging by the end, but I felt edgy in that game. And Liverpool, I don't think we need to be as edgy. We felt lacked a bit of confidence with the people that were out. Well, that confidence is gone. We've got that back now straight away. So as far as I'm concerned, there's nowhere we should fear if we go with the same attitude.
What do you think of Gyokeres overall? There was one nice moment where he cut in from the left, cut back towards the middle, gave it out to Noni. Noni gave it to him on the overlap, and he smashes it off the side of the post. Just a little unlucky not to have it inside of the post so we can celebrate another goal. I think you can see him coming into the game again. And fitness aside, this is a position striker, right? You've got so many new things you're learning in terms of the way we want to play, the way we want to press, the intensity of the league, the quality of the opposing defense, the types of passes that you're going to receive from your different wingers. And he's played with different wide players in each game. I thought that this was another step in the right direction for him. Unlike other games where there's been questions, where's this shot monster we've seen? He had 4 shots in this game. He hit the post. He scored a goal. So it's a good day at the office for Gyokeres in his development for me.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Again, it looked like our centre forward. Again, what's happening now is if we are on a transition and if any of our wingers getting behind, they know what they've got to do now, didn't they? They got to play it across first time because he's going to be there, right? So you play to your teammates, you develop your connections, you play to them. I thought he ran back and crushed their 6 every now and again. Elliot Anderson, fresh from England duty and being classed as the next saviour of England. He got pushed about a little bit. He's a steady player. He's a good player, Elliot, but there's levels to this, right? And
he was involved in their one good move, the sort of 1-2-3 move where Morgan Gibbs-White got in at the end of the first half.
And Timber came across it. That was a bit scary, actually.
Yeah.
And he can play. I shouldn't critique him. He can play. But like we always do with a young England player, we overhype them. And but Gyokeres came back on him a few times. And he did a couple of things where he sprinted. So you hear me use the term roll off the centre-backs, roll off the front line. He sprints into the ball. And it's like what you shouldn't do. Eddie used to do that a lot. But it would bounce off him. and then into a tackle. He sprints to the ball to get there first. Then just lays it around the corner. It's like, again, it's different. It's really instant. It's like, I haven't seen that for a long time. And this newness, it felt really good to see something different. He buzz it out to Eze and then spin off straight away. No waiting around. I've got to get to the last line real quick. That's where I belong. It's just a different style of player. Yeah, I really like what he's doing. He's different to what we have, and that difference is what we need. Eze's different to Martinelli, but that's okay.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What do you think of him?
Well, Eze?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought he was quite magnetic. So when the ball goes into players, they have this thing. They know when they can trust somebody on the ball, right? And when they can trust you, they just give it to you. So you build that trust all the time, Elliot. Every day in training, even in the warm-ups, you build it. And everyone's looking to see who can't look after it, who breaks the drill down, blah, blah, blah. And when someone's got a bit, they go, they like that. Do you know what I mean? And they start to give the ball, start to wrap the ball into you and see what you've got, And he's got the stuff, mate. He's got it. He really has. He's got the ability to get his head up. And he's got the presence to keep people away. I used the word fragility earlier. It's no critique of Martin Odegaard, but he went off. And unfortunate, because it's a big collision. He happened to land on exactly where he didn't want to land.
Yeah.
Almost, he's thinking, what's going on here? 2 injuries, same place. Never had a shoulder problem as far as I can be aware of. And he's really trying to go into contact and show people I'm stronger than I was last year. I'm going to look after the ball better. I'm going to play more through balls. I've heard what people have said. I'm going to take more risks. I'm going to play inside. I'm going to do this stuff. And he's trying to do it. He's come off twice in 2 home games. You think, bloody hell. Do you know what I mean? He must be really frustrated. But I'll say to you again, there's a fragility about him physically that Ethan hasn't got, that Eze hasn't got, that Gyokeres has got. They're just stronger. They're stronger at this present time. And that's a major part of who we are. The physical dominance that we had over them. And Forest are a decent side. I'll say this to you now, that I thought they were quite good. I said it in the IR and I thought, I've got to be honest, some of their triangles were really good. But then our reaction to them just shut them out. And because we're so good across the ground, so physical and so quick and so combative. And the whole intensity around the performance was top. And Gyokeres, there wasn't anybody, Elliot, not anybody that wasn't playing the same tune. Just nobody. Everybody was on it. And I don't often say that, mate, to be honest. There's always somebody we can dig out, isn't there?
Yeah, no, it was a solid performance front to back and including the subs. And, with Eze, first of all, there's more variety to his game. I think, with Martinelli, if I wanted to be critical, I think one thing I'd say is that he's become a bit predictable in what he's going to try to do, and defenders seem much more comfortable because they know his patterns, they know his intentions, they know his preferences. Eze had so many different moves to beat his man. So there's one time he's on the touchline, he just throws a hip to the inside and beats his man dead and goes down the touchline, having left him for dead. He had the dummy early on in the game, a really nice moment. Calafiori was out wide. Eze dummies it. Gyokeres wall pass. Odegaard tried that scoop, but the scoop didn't really find anybody.
Yeah.
Eze obviously has the moment for the goal. And I think I said this in the instant reaction, but I think it just bears repeating. Easy goals tend to look easy because everybody's executed at a very high level. First of all, the run is timed to perfection. There is no touch. The first touch is the pass. And that ball is bouncing, and it's gone 50 yards, and he takes all the bounce off it. He has beautiful pass consideration, right? Beautiful weight and timing right through the corridor of uncertainty so Gyokeres can slam it home. And then, of course, Gyokeres makes the run to where the ball is going. So really good understanding. I think the thing that's just worth pointing out is the debate with Eze. When we were linked with him, we don't need him. We need a winger. We have to have a winger. Well,
we didn't say that.
Oh, well, we didn't. Well, look, I've been asking for Eze for 3 years. But it's the point that I think you can see now this idea of what a winger has to be it's not nonsense, but it's just not something that you need to be concerned about. His pace running in behind looked fine because it's about the intelligence of your running. His ability to hold the width was fine when he needed to, and his ability to come inside and combine was fine. One of the things that was really encouraging to me, Clive, you know what I saw for the first time in ages was little 1-2s and 1-2-3s at the top of the box from the left-hand side. Combination play on the left-hand side. And that is something we've not seen. Even when the left has worked okay, it's usually someone sprinting in behind or, individual play. There was combination play back on the left, and that was really encouraging.
It's just players trusting players.
Mm-hmm.
Quality players knowing that they can do the stuff that they need. So when you trust somebody, if you're Calafiori, you're gonna roll around because he's gonna find you. You better be ready. Your job is just to be light on your toes because the ball's coming, right? And to have a picture when it comes, right? So yeah, he was quality, and there are different types of wingers, right? So Madueke is probably closer to Martinelli in style than aggression, But I think where Madueke is better, he just looks more physically dominant. Saka is probably a combination of an Eze and Madueke. He's got the explosion, but he's also got the decision-making and creativity, and that's why he is who he is, though many people are probably dropping him in their minds today, or moving him in maybe 5 yards, maybe. Right? And so, so Trossard is probably closer to Eze in how he beats his man, manipulates his man, uses his technical brain, so that's why I always thought that would be the change, but we kept them both, so let's see what happens. And so, yeah, we did different styles. But the key for me, you stand in certain places in different phases of the game, but where you end up is where you end up. And we've had people say, the manager makes him stand here, makes him stand there. No, mate, just go where you got to go. Combine with people. And what's clear when you watch Arsenal play is that when people rotate out of a certain area, somebody rotates in. No matter what your shirt number is. They don't say, well, I've got to stay here with my man. If I leave this space, I'm going to leave a hole. No, just move, because the team is built up and the principles are so strong that somebody else will cover you. Because you moving provides continuity, provides that. And what was the thing I walked away with, Elliot? Well, many things I walked away with. But when you do rewatch this, how many times you see the one-touch bounce passes going through the middle of the pitch to get in and that felt newer to me.
Mm-hmm.
That felt
I
new.
agree.
That felt new. So many one-touch passes, bounce, bounce out to the man. You can now dribble because we don't want to hold on to it too much in the centre. We want you to hold on to it in the wide areas and now go, attack, go. We're going to get to you quicker. And the separation was there. So we know the score when Saka gets it. There's no separation. You can barely see the goal, let alone move towards it. Because by the time we get it to him, there's a crowd scene there. The separation, why does that happen? Why did Madueke get because of the pace of pass and what we did to get it there and how we supported him. And we had loads of distractions around him, which means he could get it. And it's the same on left-hand side. It's very encouraging, mate. I will be watching this again and to try to understand that better. And no doubt it'll be analysed this week. But interesting to see if that continues, particularly away from home. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and just to, I think, highlight what Mikel now has at his disposal to ensure that these games stay wins. You did a podcast with Scott that we posted on our Patreon, and it was about turning draws into wins. We had too many draws last season, and the really worrying part for me wasn't the draws. It was the draws where we had been in a winning position and were pegged back. Now, a game that sticks out, and this wasn't from last season, a couple seasons ago, is when we got pegged back to a draw at home to 10-man Fulham. That one really hurt. You know what? Look at this game. Calafiori gets a yellow in the 62nd minute at 2-0. Gets a second yellow in the 72nd minute. Suddenly it's 10-man Arsenal holding on. He misses City. No. Miles Lewis-Skelly comes on. No drama. Calafiori gets the rest of the day off. Easy win. Gyokeres, still building up his fitness. Who comes on for him? Declan Rice comes on for him. And I have to laugh because we all did over the summer. Well, we've seen the last of Mikel Merino at striker. Mm-hmm. No, we haven't, mate. He's pretty good up there.
He'll be back there.
But then the forwards, Leo and Martinelli, both come on. This is what we're bringing on now. This is how we're changing games now. And I think this is going to be as important as anything, not to winning games 5, 6, 7, but not turning 2-0s into 2-2s. The Villa game last season. You cannot let that happen. And now we have the quality to ensure that we finish games as strong or stronger than we start them. That's huge, and I think that's going to make a big, big difference in our season. Clive, it would be bad to get through this podcast and not talk about arguably maybe our best player on the day, if you wanted to be unfair to Noni Madueke, and that's Jurrien Timber. This guy just flies under the radar in a way because he's so consistent. But I thought early in the game, when our ball progression wasn't perfect, one thing that I noticed is that Forest were doing a good job early, I think, stopping us from building play with passing through the middle. So you know what Timber did? He just carried the ball. He just carried the ball past them and created so many good little opportunities carrying the ball past players. He was on the end of a Noni cutback where he's just unlucky. The defender does really well to poke the ball away before he can smash it in. I think he is as good as anybody we have, honestly. He's that good, and he's currently keeping Ben White out of the squad, which tells you all you need to know about his quality, but we have the ability to give him a day off. We need to. Were you as impressed with him as I was?
Yeah, mate. He's the when you're growing up like I was growing up, you play football, right? You always want that guy in your team that would win the fight in the car park. Right? Like everything went off. He's the first one into a big tackle, the first one that says, we're here. We're in London. We're playing you, and we're here. He's that guy. And if you go back to Anfield last week, it was really, and I was nervous. We're all nervous. We're wondering how good they are. Blah blah blah. First tackle, he makes one tackle, bang, straight through him, bang, up again, bang, running through the middle of the pitch. Mate, he has got something in him, a fire in him, which is physical where he needs to be. But then he switches and says, I need to be an offensive player now. And he's that player. And when we did our scouting of him, do you remember we did a scout of him many moons ago? And he was like playing centre back, he was playing right back, he played left back, and then he had a lot of freedom playing for Ajax. And if he was in the right wing by the corner flag, he looked like a winger. If he was like in the middle of the pitch, he looked like a striker. He looked like a midfielder. He looked like a centre. He looked like anything you needed. He had all of the attributes. So even if I need to coif you and run away, I can do that. I need to smash you in a tackle, I can do that. I can do it inside or outside. That's complete, isn't it? You know, and we've used him properly. You know, I go back to he's injured at the moment, but Martinez, who went to Manchester United, not used correctly. A really good technical player, not used correctly, not positioned correctly to succeed. We've used him to succeed. He's brilliant in one-on-ones. And he's brilliant at transitions, and he's a smart player. And when we went to LA, remember we went to LA and we watched him pre-season, first time back from his ACL. Yeah. And obviously we watched Ben White for a season, probably overplay, and you're doing your unpicking team thing. And we sort of said, I said, I don't care what your team is, this guy's playing. We didn't know where at the time, did we? But we weren't sure he started the season at left back. Remember, he went to Spurs and he played left back. This guy's playing, and he gives you that aura. I'm playing, so that's it. So you decide what you're going to do, Mr. Manager. But I'm playing, and the others can sit and rest. And I do think we know the 2 contracts that we have to do. They're obvious, the big 2, but this one is right behind, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. This one's right behind. You have to recognize what you have and get there quick, because he'll be being looked at by everybody, and we need to get him signed up.
Yeah, and James said something on the Arscast that I agree with. It's great to have this squad depth. We are so fortunate, and this is a great opportunity season for us to go and win something with all this great talent. We probably won't have quite this much depth after this season, because there are going to be players who look at this situation and say, I love it here, but I need a bit more. And you can think of who those players are, players who could be starting for us, but currently aren't, who are going to say to their agent, I love it at Arsenal, but I want to go somewhere where I'm the man.
That's okay. And that's how you become a good seller.
Yes.
Because that's what we haven't had, right? So
see, that's a great point. Yes, because instead of selling Sambi Lukonga, you're selling Benjamin White. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I'm not saying we should sell Ben White. You get my point, though.
But that's how you become a good seller. Everyone goes, they're good sellers. Well, you know why? Because he's a good player, and they're a good side. They've won a trophy. If he can't get into that team, it's okay, but he's really valuable to me. That's how you have a good seller. When you've got people on the bench that are now playing in League One and on loan at Shrewsbury, for example, you can't sell those players, right? So you've got to think about it clearly. And this is what we need to do. This is how you change your selling identity, by raising the levels. And there are there's a young player in France, defensive player, that we've already looking at. You can see the future, can't you? You can see the future. That's how you make something sustainable, by adding those young players. Mosquera is an unbelievable buy. It's that type of buy we need to add to the defensive group, potentially, to supplement a timber, shall we say.
Yeah, well said. There's a conversation happening. I want to read you a quote about Noni Madueke. We're gonna finish off just with a quick comment on the Athletic game, and before we do that, Mikel said about Noni Madueke and what he's brought to the squad, a lot of courage. That's how I describe him. A lot of quality, but a lot of courage. When we were about to sign him and there was that reaction around him, I spoke to him and he was like, I go for it. I cannot wait to put the shirt on and play for you guys. I said, wow, let's bring him. If I was convinced before, I'm more convinced now that he's going to do it. I think he has such power, such capacity to repeat efforts, because to be able to do that physically, you have to have a different specimen. And I think he certainly has that. But he's very skillful, very unpredictable. He's so willing to learn, and he brings joy. I look at him and he's always smiling. He's always trying things. He gets one wrong, he goes again. And that's what I love about the creative players, because you need that to be successful. Glowing praise from Mikel. I'm going to ask you something that's a little bit more FIFA than it is real football, but I'm only going to ask it because I've seen it out there and I think it is interesting. Bukayo Saka is entering a new phase of his career. He's very much in his prime, but he has now picked up a couple of hamstring injuries. And, he's in a position where there's a lot of big sprints, there's a lot of explosive running. There's always been a bit of a conversation that he could be more of an interior player, play a little bit more where Odegaard and Ethan play. And Noni Madueke right now is showing us something that I'm sure we're going to want to continue to have in the squad. Is there any world where you'd say, you know what, for the sake of his hamstrings, for the sake of the squad, for the sake of the dynamic, will there be days to play Bukayo on the interior and play Noni on the outside? Or is that just sort of a social media FIFA kind of mindset?
No, that mindset's been in my mind for about 3 years. Right? Eventually he'll end up there. And he has all the attributes because he protects the ball. His decision making is really good, and he runs around people and creates angles and shoots and scores. And this is not new. People know this. People more connected than me know that he's good at this, and it's just a matter of time. But it's okay. It'll have to be tomorrow morning. Again, it's not about now. It's about winning time. Winning time is April and May. Who's going to have the strongest team then? It will present itself to us when we're hopefully going to Man City in the semi-final of the Champions League. Trust me, mate, you'll pick the right team then. It won't be none of this messing about. The team will be picked, and we'll have a history of performances to make the right decisions, right? So, and that's what the players are all trying to do right now. They're trying to play, gain trust, bring their A game when they come on. I thought when Trossard came on, his feet were brilliant.
He had an assist.
Yeah, he's not coming to mess about. He's thinking, if I want to play in this team, I better do a bit in the minutes that are given to me. And so, There was someone, I heard something years ago, Saka played in a 10 in training, was really, really good. It's when he was just breaking into the wide areas. It just stayed with me. And you can see it, can't you? You can see it, but it doesn't have to be yet. It will happen down the road if required. Who'd have thought Merino would have played centre forward for Arsenal? It just happened, and he was really good at it. And he'll do it again. He can play 10, he can play 8. It's what you want. I want to see Ethan play 8 on the left-hand side. I want to see him do it. Because the more positions you play, the more valuable you are to getting squads. Simple as that.
Yeah, well, when you talk about the squad, I think people think the point of a squad is that you can rotate. And so there will be an expectation of a lot of rotation for the Athletic game tomorrow. We have 5 days before we play City. And that is a consideration. I think people have this slightly wrong. Players want to play in Champions League. If you listen to Eze and Noni, they were being interviewed after the game, and Eze was saying, neither of us have played, Champions League before, so we're really excited for this game. These are the games they want to play. As silly as it sounds, you might say, but City's at the weekend, but it's Champions League. They want to play in these games. It is an away game in the Champions League to start our campaign. You know what you really want? You want those games at the end of this campaign to be meaningless. So you want to know that the Bayern game is a free hit. If you win it, great. If you don't, great. These are the games you need points. So to me, I'm a little less of the mindset of, we make 11 changes. Some of the lineups I see is it's like 11 changes or something, and we have the squad depth to do that. But I don't think that's what Champions League is about. So for me, I expect to see something very similar, probably Rice coming back in. But I'm curious. The positions where it could happen. Miles instead of Calafiori or White instead of Timber. But it's Champions League, Clive. It's away. I think we're going to have less rotation than people expect.
Yeah, I think so. The left back situation, I'm interested to see what Hincapie looks like. So I think he may make an appearance off the bench. Again, I keep my eyes on Big Gabby when he comes back from Brazil. My eyes are on him, and so let's have a look at that situation. Calafiori did well. He sort of hit a mini wall around 60 minutes. You sort of see it, but obviously they'll work that one out. Will more likely play. I want to see the same front three, but they haven't got to end. They haven't got to end the game, have they? And I can see Merino playing in midfield for Odegaard for the away game. This game. Is it Inter Milan? Probably our two hardest away games. So Inter Milan, I got that right? Inter Milan? I don't know why I'm saying that. I
think Inter's away again, right?
Yeah. Two hardest away against Inter Milan, and so let's just play our best team. I think they lost at the weekend. I heard Tom say this morning that they rested a lot of players because he's out there. They rested a lot of players. And so, it's going to be a hard game. I remember that Lens one earlier. Remember that Lens game? When we lost? That game stays in my mind. When Newcastle played PSG, I think they played at home, and that first time they played in Champions League, and it was raucous. And they had a fantastic result. There are many other results after, but the first game is the one when the other teams are excited. It's their debut night. You've got to go with your top boys, so you haven't got to end. And there is enough. We're playing, I think we're the early kickoff, and we're playing Sunday afternoon. There's plenty of time to rest. And also Man City are playing Thursday night, so we should look after our business, mate. Look after our business. If someone's a little bit hanging, then look after them. But look after our business, get the points, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, Bayern is between Spurs and Chelsea, right? Inter away is before United. You want to win all these other games so that you can look at those games as an opportunity to finish as high as possible, but not games where you must get the points to progress. So just get the points here, take care of business, and be done.
I think if you finish top 8, unlike last year, I think we finished 3rd, but we didn't get a favourable home draw, second leg at home. They didn't really enforce that last year. I think they're enforcing that this year. So the higher up the league you finish, the better favourable draws you're going to have. Yeah, so I think it's important we do it.
Well, we'll have an instant reaction after it tomorrow, and we'll have a main pod Thursday. So if you don't want to wait till Thursday, you can get the instant reaction tomorrow. I think we'll save the stuff on the rest of the Premier League for a power rankings. This week feels like a good power rankings week because we had an interesting Liverpool performance to analyze. I think the United City game was very interesting, even though United were crushed and it was hilarious. City gave up a lot of chances and were run through at times, so it's worth talking about that.
Gave up a lot of possession, Elliot, which is interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting. But then they used Haaland to ruthless efficiency as a result of it. So something for us to think about as we preview that game later this week. Spare a thought for Ange Postecoglou. Shows up at the Emirates with a team wearing white and gets smacked again. It's like nothing ever changed. So kudos to Ange for that. We love you for being here. We'd love to have you on the Patreon, but if not, we'll see you on the Thursday pod. Clive, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
My name's Elliot Smith. We love you, and we will talk to you after Arsenal 10, Athletic Club 0.